Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, we've got an excellent assortment of videos. In today's video, we're going to cover a variety of topics such as a new virus that's making the rounds. We're going to talk more about this imminent disclosure that they're now claiming will completely wreck the entire world. We've actually got a very interesting paranormal clip in today's episode. I haven't come across a good one of those in a while. And of course, we've got to talk about this recent so-called trip to the moon. But everyone, prepare yourselves. Today's episode is going to be a great one. Before we get going, don't forget to hit like and leave a comment to increase the odds of my next upload showing up in your feed. I hope everyone's able to stay to the end. There's some really good stuff in this episode that people just aren't going to want to miss. But with all that out of the way, let's get after it.
LA County is reporting a record typhus outbreak with 90% of people infected hospitalized. This is not good. So like I said, Los Angeles County has reached a record 220 flea-borne typhus cases this year with a concerning 90% hospitalization rate. Outbreaks were confirmed in Santa Monica, Willowbrook, and Central City, surpassing 187 cases reported in 2024. Now, symptoms which typically appear 1 to 2 weeks after exposure include high fever, headache, body aches, and a characteristic rash. Dr. Montu Davis, LA County Health Officer, said with cases at an all-time high and most requiring hospitalization, it's critical that people take simple steps now, such as routinely using flea control on their pets, avoiding contact with stray animals, and preventing wildlife from living or around their homes. They're worried, people. So here's the thing about this typhus. The illness is often not diagnosed early enough, leading to severe, debilitating symptoms. Approximately 9 out of 10 infected people required hospitalization due to the severity of the infection, which is often caused by exposure to infected fleas or pets and wildlife. Severe complications. The bacteria can cause severe illness, including high fever, severe headache, confusion, organ damage, and in some cases, inflammation of the heart muscle or renal failure. Yikes. Delayed diagnosis. Because symptoms are similar to other illnesses, flu-like symptoms, rash, diagnosis is often delayed. Treatment is most effective with early antibiotic intervention. Without it, cases often escalate to requiring hospital care. People, this is not to be played around with. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms and you live in these areas, go to a doctor immediately, because the last thing you need is organ damage or inflammation of the heart. This is serious stuff.
You would really think this would be in the headlines a little more? Like, I think this is only the second time that I've come across any information on this. And the fact that they've already, in the first 3 months of 2026, surpassed the entirety of the numbers for 2024, those numbers are not headed in the right direction. Doesn't it just feel like it's too early in the year for this level of craziness that we've been seeing in the past month? It just seems like everything's happening all at once. For example, if the typhus doesn't get you, the Lyme disease probably will. But I wouldn't be surprised if either this typhus outbreak or the Lyme disease outbreak that we've been experiencing, it would not be surprising to me to see one of those continually ramp up until it reaches a point where they have to start talking about lockdowns again, and we'll just slide right into Plandemic 2.0. That's why I always keep an eye on this stuff, because we all know they're salivating at the mouth just thinking of the opportunity to try to pull off another pandemic. And now they got the actual data to show them just how much of the population will just go along with whatever they're told. Now they've got all the data telling them who can be controlled and who needs to be eliminated.
Just it can't get better. So let me get this straight. We're gonna spray the ever-living hell out of humanity's skies all over the world, by the way, whether it's flat, whether it's round, to not only block the sun, that vitamin D that is essential for every living thing on planet Earth, along with weather warfare, which not only can destroy any city they want, but with droughts. Then we're going to now promote a random startup company that's going to let you order at the click of a button direct sunlight, at least they say that, right to your door for just a few $1,000s an hour.
Don't have to bring anything on a truck. You just hit a button and you can get some light from space. And it's not very expensive. It's a couple $1,000s an hour, and that's about it. And you can use it for as long as you want. Each one of these little satellites is reflecting sunlight to a customer around the world. And I'm going to share a little bit more about who those customers are and how you can get this sunlight. You want to make it as easy as possible for people. So you can imagine using an app and bringing sunlight over to your exact location, wherever you are, in under 30 seconds at the touch of a button. All we have to do is rotate satellites and reflect the sunlight that's passing by us in space.
You got to give it to the globalists. Really.
I almost wonder if their end game, their end goal, is to completely, for the sake of global warming, just completely block out the sun altogether. And then the sun will just be something that rich people have access to. Using satellites, they'll beam it through the smog and all the pollution. And I know that's a little out there, but I can honestly say if they thought they could pull it off, they'd be working on a way to devise it right now. Any and every one of those assets or those resources, if they're able to find a way to do it, they will claim ownership over it, find a way to restrict the average man from being able to gain access to it, and then they'll start charging a premium for it. You know, if humanity were allowed to proceed, to go on in the same direction that it's headed in right now, and go another 50 years, I fully expect that the majority of the population left over at that point in time will be likely paying for access to clean breathing air. It sounds absolutely absurd, but we all know if they could, they would.
What's that? Oh, more and more people are reporting the fact that your phone is actually bringing up things that you're thinking and not even saying out loud. Tell me more! Yeah, most of us have noticed that when we talk about things, it'll pop up on our phone in some sort of an ad or video form. But now it's creeping out people more and more because it's coming to the point where people think about things and all of a sudden they're seeing these ads and it gets even crazier. Meaning this isn't just for new items or anything like that. People are literally can walk into a house, see some sort of an old vintage German piece, and now all of a sudden it's popping up on their phone. What? Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Oh, because now what people are saying is that when they think about even committing some sort of a crime, even though they really wouldn't do it, their phone is reporting them to then having somebody contact them and discuss this with them. Oh, goody. Yeah, some agency is showing up to people's houses after getting this information and saying your phone reported you for suspicious activity. Oh, goody.
If you want the majority of the population to walk away from electronics overnight, this is how you do it. Make their phones start snitching on them, calling the cops every time they drive over the speed limit or forget to use a turn signal. No one's going to willingly carry around this surveillance device whenever it's not bringing any good to their life. People overlook all these surveillance issues that we have with phones right now, but you still have a lot of freedom on a phone. You still have access to things that you want access to. But is having access to those things as important as maintaining your freedom? But our phone has been designed in such a way that it gives you convenient access to things that used to be a headache. Like you no longer have to drive around town paying all your bills on payday. You could do everything right there from your phone. But is having access to these features on a cell phone that have solved previous headaches? I think those are things that people would be much more likely to just make a decision that they're going to continue to put up with those things. If the alternative was your phone contacting the police every couple of weeks because you watched a movie and your heart rate got elevated and now it thought you were going to go commit assault. Because that is a future headache, and it's one that is completely avoidable.
I'm sorry, but scientists just made one of the biggest discoveries ever. Okay, now this is insane. There's something called hydrogel. You probably know what that is. Remember those little balls you used to play with as a child? Orbeez, those little things? That's what hydrogel is. It's used for a lot of different things. Obviously, toys we all had back in chapter 1, and other things just used in daily life. But not this. We all know, on the flip side, how bad it is when we get an injury or a cut. It's annoying, right? Depending on how bad your cut is, they'll bandage it up. Or if you get something worse internally, you're going to have more treatment. Now, some insane research came out last year, but it's progressed a lot. So just to update you, scientists at the University of Bayreuth in Germany developed a hydrogel that is so thin that it will actually go on you as a layer that you can't even see and act as a bandage that will heal wounds, cut, broken bones even, very, very quickly, which is just nuts. And the way this works is because it's so thin that it mimics human skin and also mimics the capabilities of human skin with its healing capacity. Now, that was last year. This year, China, of course, have now jumped on the bandwagon, and well, of course, they have to take things a step further. So they have now looked at a hydrogel implant that can fix the brain. There's actually been a few different people coming out with different studies on this. One company has actually done some human trials on the cartilage in someone's knee and did find out that this did 100% work. The original study is being tested on people with broken bones and cuts, and yes, it is working. But now what they're trying in China is using this hydrogel stem cell treatment to basically repair injured brain tissue, which, yeah, that's a step up. A lot more is going to come out on this, so as always, I will keep you updated.
I think it's very discouraging hearing about news like this. I fully believe that some of these medical discoveries are legit. shit. I completely believe that they'll figure this out and make it as functional as they think they're going to make it. I think it's even possible that we figure out the aging thing. But what's frustrating is if they did figure out the aging thing, if they did completely take control of everything, they're going to whittle the population down to below 500 million people. They would completely stop reproducing, and those 500 million people that were left would be all the elites. They'll just use these medical breakthroughs to keep themselves young and healthy for a couple hundred years. So I'm just saying it's really exciting to hear that they've had these breakthroughs, but it's really frustrating knowing that none of this stuff is intended for the general public.
They saw something moving around the living room, but when they look at the cameras, they see this. A woman named Christine called the fire department after waking up to a sudden lightning strike near her house, causing half her house to lose power. As the firefighters arrive, one of them notices something strange is in the corner. A large shadow figure suddenly runs by the candles as they're blown out.
In that back corner. Yes, right there? Yeah.
He mentions he thought he saw someone sitting in the sofa. After hearing this, the scene looked over the cameras and sees this.
With this thing, the thing sitting on my freaking bedroom floor, like, am I haunted? There. What is that? What is that?
As the lightning struck, something can be seen crawling around her bedroom. She also finds strange movement where the shadow was seen in the sofa as the firefighter was checking the breaker box.
Very corner in the dark corner of the wall. There you go. Oh,
Terrified, she uploads the videos, believing whatever she captured in her room is an entity haunting her home.
I know that wasn't a edge of your seat type clip, but I like how this took place in a room full of adults. Most of the adults in the video were at that location in an official capacity. They weren't there just goofing off and hanging out. And I'm pretty convinced at this point that if we are going to catch something paranormal on video, it's likely going to be something small like this. And I don't know why that is, but it does seem like, even though I would think most people believe in some form of paranormal activity, these demons have really gone out of their way to make sure that no one ever catches their hijinks on video.
You're on the UFO subcommittee. I mean, I'm just wondering what you make of that. Have you heard anything like that?
Well, I'm still a member of Congress, so I can't really comment too much on what Matt said. But I will say this.
Wait, seriously? Are you being serious, or is that
I'm being 100% serious.
Okay.
I've been 100% serious. I've been briefed by just about every alphabet agency there is. And I'll just tell you this. If they would release the things that I've seen, you would stay up. You'd be up at night worrying about or thinking about this stuff. We just need to disclose it all. I'm sick of it. Well, I was briefed. I'll just tell you this. I was briefed last week on an issue, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, and it would have set the earth on. This country would have come unglued, I think, if they would have heard all that I heard. They would demand answers, and we need to. But you know, it's never going to get. Unfortunately, it just keeps getting covered up, and the people that know are dying or disappearing, as the case may be.
Wow.
And for the record, I'm not suicidal, and I don't take risks. So,
I'm glad you said that. I'm speechless, Congressman.
We will have you back. You should be. And I told the president, release it all. And the problem is, the people that are around the president don't know and the president doesn't know the questions to ask. A few of us are going to have to get with the president and tell him what he needs to ask and where he needs. And the public has a right to know, dadgummit. It's your tax dollars.
Absolutely.
Let's get it out there.
You got my attention, Congressman. I appreciate you being as forthcoming as you have been tonight, and we look forward to having you back. Look, I know Donald Trump wants to disclose something. He hasn't done it yet, but I think he wants to be the president to do that.
If I had to guess, I would think that they're probably being honest with all of these politicians whenever they're going to these closed-door meetings and discussing UAPs and UFOs, seeing as how there's at least the appearance that the majority of the people in Washington are all Luciferian Satan worshipers. Any of these politicians who go to one of these closed-door meetings on aliens and UFOs, they're probably assumed to be on the Luciferian side. Like, even if there's been no public decree that you've made or anything like that, they probably just, when you enter one of those meetings, just assume that you're part of the club. So they're probably telling these politicians the truth, that there are no aliens, that there's no beings visiting here from another planet. These are all the fallen angels and demons from Scripture, and they're here masquerading as a different species. And yes, if they came clean to the public and told them that's what's going on, this world probably would turn upside down. But they're not going to give the public the truth. If they were going to give us the truth, they would have already told us everything. Just the fact that so much has come out in the past couple of years from just whistleblower testimony, yet they still haven't come out and told us what's actually going on, that tells us all we need to know if we're questioning whether or not they're trying to control this narrative. Clearly they are, or they would have already spilled the beans. But I say this just to give everyone a heads up. Like many times before, it now appears that they're likely about to disclose something. Whatever they tell us, we need to listen to it with suspicious ears. We need to fact check and verify any detail and anything that they tell us, because we're probably not going to be able to just completely expose the exact lie and purpose of the lie. We can speculate all day, but we're never going to find that information. But if we can point out all the locations in their narrative where they're fudging the facts, and then of course we'll be able to pinpoint parts of their narrative that we can label definitively as false, and depending on the percentage of their story that is deemed to be definitively false, we'll know whether or not to believe or put any weight in the remainder of their story. But it is exciting. It does look like they're finally about to give us the big lie.
Here's the latest photo from inside Artemis 2 of the globe. Question. Sun's on the backside of the planet, right? So, and that you can tell by the glare here. So how is this side of the world lit up and not under complete darkness when the sun is behind the Earth? Because from inside the capsule, as you can clearly see here, this is from inside the capsule, right? Complete darkness. How is this side of the planet lit up when the sun is on the backside of the Earth? You can see because it's starting to, the glow around the firmament. But I digress. Werner von Braun, look up his headstone. Why is inside the capsule of Artemis 2 completely as black as night, but this side of the globe, and what landmass is that, is exposed? And where are all the satellites? Where's all the debris? The thousands and thousands of satellites, International Space Station. Where are all those at right now? Where's Elon Musk's Tesla that he launched into space? I'm just asking questions because I'm trying to comprehend this, and I can't.
That does kind of feel like a question that they should be ready and willing to answer. How are they getting the exposure on a spinning ball that's spinning thousands of miles an hour when they're taking the photo on the shadow side where there is no natural light, to where they would have to leave the shutter open for like 30 seconds in order to achieve that level of lighting, which also would have likely completely blown out any actual light that was already in the image, like that ring coming across the outer edge of it. And why isn't anyone asking Neil deGrasse Tyson why he claims that the Earth is an oblate spheroid, yet they keep giving us back these perfect spheres and telling us that those are legit images of the Earth, and they'll just throw the edge of one continent on there so that we can get a generalized idea of what we're looking at, the whole time completely forgetting about the fact that we can see there's not visually enough room for all the remainder of the continents to fit on this so-called globe.
I'm sorry about making so much content about this moon mission, but there is nothing real about this image that they released on the NASA official website of the Earth. It's just not real, right? It doesn't physically, mathematically add up in the, you know, the landmass that we can see on the image compared to the rest of the landmass on the ball. Now, I know this isn't a perfect to-scale image of the globe, you know, heliocentric model, but, you know, to scale, that landmass is perfectly lined up to the landmass on the map. So just for reference, you can see how much landmass there is left on the Earth to try and wrap around the rest of that ball. It doesn't add up if you ask me. Look, that landmass fits that one right there, roundabout. So how are we fitting the rest? It doesn't make sense. Like, to me, it just doesn't seem like things are adding up, just like the northern lights being shown over Chile. And then, you know, you just got to look at the trajectory of the rocket and realize that right outside of the landmass where they had the rocket set off is the Bermuda Triangle. Now, it would make sense to me that the most untouched water in the world would probably be used for something that they will never tell us about. And you do realize how easy it would be to actually fake being in space. I mean, just as an example here, all you need is a hairdryer, a computer chair, a TV, and a couple of cameras, and you can produce this. Looks pretty legit if you ask me, but we know that it's not. And still, no one has explained how these astronauts are being filmed on their spaceship going 25,000 miles an hour through the vacuum of space. But hey, I guess we're the idiots for thinking that there is some sort of deception going on and humanity might be manipulated to the point that we believe that this is all real. That would be absolutely crazy. What am I saying? What do I know? I'm just a random guy on the internet, and all of this is just for entertainment, beautiful people. I'm as fictional as the moon landings, baby.
And I think this is probably the key question that everyone should ask themselves in regards to the shape of the Earth. So it's more than obvious that whatever that image they're giving us is, it is not an accurate representation of our planet. There's just not enough room on there to fit the rest of the continents. So it's not physically possible that that's legitimate. And this seems to be a reoccurring issue whenever they give us these fake photos like the famous blue marble. But the key question someone needs to ask themselves is, since NASA claims to have the capability of producing legitimate photos of the Earth that we live on, yet they're clearly giving us doctored images, leading us to assume, because that's all we can do, that there could be any number of differences about what our Earth actually looks like. But the key question that someone needs to ask themselves is, if NASA has the capabilities, supposedly, and according to them, to take a legitimate photo of our planet and show it to everyone, yet they keep giving us these fake Photoshop doctored photos, why would they not just show us the real thing? Because if they did, it would expose them. It wouldn't be that difficult for them to produce a photo that looked real. Why do they continue to give us these low effort, low quality forgeries? Why wouldn't they just make something that seemed believable? And that can only lead me to assume that they want the evidence that they're lying out in public. Because if they can release all the evidence showing that they're lying about the shape of the Earth, and with all that information and data being accessible to the public, the vast majority of people still believe their narrative, that would be a fairly accurate way to gauge your success. But y'all let me know down in the comments what you think about it. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to click the like button or leave a comment to increase the chances that my next upload will show up in your YouTube feed. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.